What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I'm out here finishing up my 10,000 steps. And this cool air feels glorious. I'm back at the park with the sax player. I wasn't expecting him to be out here again tonight, but I don't necessarily mind him being out here. Let's get into the topic at hand. Let me have a seat over here. UPS. They are laying off 20,000 workers. That sounds like a lot. Well, that is a lot. But they employ somewhere around 500,000 total. So it's a lot, but not for them in terms of their workforce collective. But why are they doing this? Many people were initially assuming that it was because of tariffs, and they have been very clear. It has nothing to do with tariffs. It has to do with the fact that they are scaling back 50% on the Amazon deliveries that they're doing. Apparently, Amazon, though their biggest client, Amazon just is not profitable enough for them. The volume is there in terms of how much work they get, but then profit margins from Amazon are not there for them. So initially when they signed up for this, I guess they thought the partnership would be more lucrative than what it is. Now that it's time to re-up that arrangement that they have with them, they're choosing not to do the same agreement because it just was not as lucrative as they were hoping that it would be. They say that it is, of course, not because of tariffs, but due to rise in use of technology, aka automation. A lot of jobs in terms of logistics, they're trying to make automated. They're trying to replace people with robots. And we shouldn't be surprised by this. Not too long ago, for those of you who remember, just a little bit ago, didn't UPS make it so that full-time workers who have been there working X amount of years would now be making $170K a year? There were some caveats with it in terms of bonuses, but yeah, that's what they were saying, is that people who have been there long enough full time, they would be getting paid $170K a year. Now, I'm not saying those people do not deserve a payday like that. I believe you are worth whatever you can get people to pay for you. So if they're willing to pay that, you absolutely are worth it. But with that being said, we should have known that if they were going to start paying like that they were in time going to either raise the prices for their services or keep the prices the same, and they now start having to cut people, and they're opting. It doesn't seem like they're raising prices yet, but they are opting to cut people. So you take into account that they are moving in the direction of replacing human workers with robots, and you take into account that they are scaling back the Amazon deliveries that they've been doing by a whopping 50%. And it just doesn't leave room for them to keep the whole staff employed. That's why we're here. So it's unfortunate. I know when this news came down, people were absolutely going to be quick to blame Trump's tariffs. And I think they knew that, which is why they made sure to throw out there the tariffs are not it. But Amazon, if Amazon has become too one-sided, too lopsided to deal with for a big company like UPS, I mean, this isn't some scrub company. This is like really well known. It just makes me wonder, what was it like for the smaller people? Just a few years ago, you had all types of smaller logistic companies opening up left and right so that they could partner up and deliver for Amazon. Because during the pandemic, you remember Amazon needed help. If you was showing up with trucks, those damn transit vans or those sprinters, if you was showing up with some of those, talking about you were a business and you wanted to partner with Amazon, Amazon was all for it. So you had a lot of people that was getting into business with Amazon because it looked like it was very lucrative. You were going to get a bunch of work. But I don't know what the fate of those people and those businesses were exactly, because you don't really hear about that anymore. I don't even be hearing about Flex all that much. You know, they had the Flex app where people could use their own personal vehicle to deliver for Amazon. Kind of like with DoorDash, you use your own vehicle to get out there and deliver for DoorDash. You could do the same thing with Amazon. And it does appear that if you're in league with Amazon, no matter how big or how small, it's going to be a very one-sided relationship, and you just not going to make enough money to eat. Like you'll be able to make enough money, I guess, for some ramen noodles. I'm speaking metaphorically. You'll be able to make enough money for ramen noodles every night, but you're not about to make enough for those seafood boils every night. They not gonna allow you to eat like that. They gonna allow you to make just enough to where you making some money, but not enough to get so big to where you could be comfortable. So I'm gonna leave it there. Do you guys know anybody who's about to be impacted by this? Somebody who's about to be laid off from UPS as a result of them scaling back on their relationship with Amazon? You know, I never realized Amazon was as savage, shady, underhanded as they are, because some of the things that I've read about how Amazon would basically partner with you, steal your data, and then create their own version of what you were doing for them and then squeeze you out, man. That's pretty screwed up. I figured, why didn't UPS just raise their price? Whatever it was that they were doing with the previous agreement for the new one, raise your prices. But that must not have happened because Amazon was probably just simply not willing to budge on the wage. They like, the price is what it is, and that's just gonna be what it is. Not too long ago, there was an issue with the post office, United States Postal Service, having trouble in terms of funding. And I remember Trump was saying that they need to charge Amazon more. With their charging Amazon for their services isn't enough. They need to charge Amazon more. I think the United States Postal Service, UPS may not have been able to get away with squeezing them for more, but I think they probably could have. I don't think so anymore, because Amazon has largely taken on delivering their own stuff. They've figured out how to do this by watching FedEx, watching UPS, watching the Postal Service. They've watched them do this long enough to where they figured out how to do this stuff themselves. So once upon a time, the U.S. Postal Service could have did this. I was thinking that they should have, but no, they can't do it now anyway. Too little, too late. They monkeyed up the timing with that. All right, though, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I finished up my steps. I'm gonna go ahead and finish watching this dang on Pistons game. They down by 10. I don't like this. If they lose tonight, it's over with. If they win tonight, it goes back to New York for Game 7. Go Pistons. All right, y'all. Good night.